we've always used the nose ring to successfully wean, so they're keeping that bond together, so it's less stress on the mum and less stress on the calf. We moved him out in the paddock behind a single hot wire. They come out, the bulls are trained, so they didn't go near it, but he come straight over to where I am now, straight under the hot wire, and went down the paddock. From this exercise, I think we realised it's very hard to train a calf to a hot wire at the same time as being weaned. Weaning is very stressful. I reckon 85% of that hard shell will survive, and they drop it down with the manure, and that's the way you spread it through your paddock. G'day folks, Jason from the Udder Farm here. So here we go with that young calf in the last video, settling down in here away from his mum. Considering he didn't wean off his mum the first time when we had the nose rings on him, he was still suckling mum. So we've never had to do that before, take the cow from the mum and wean him in a separate paddock. We've always used the nose ring to successfully wean, so they're keeping that bond together, so it's less stress on the mum and less stress on the calf. So this is the first time we had to do it. I must admit, for the first 4 or 5 days, he was very vocal. As like most calves, they're missing their mum, and mum wasn't much different when we went out there and seen her either. She was stressed out. Every time we come in, mum would be up to the car, she'd be mewing, missing the calf. That's why we try and keep them together as long as possible and wean them with nose rings. It's the first time it has been successful. What we ended up doing was we left him in this paddock, in this yard I should say, for roughly 4 hours, and then we introduced the bulls with him and had him here for another couple of hours. So about 6 hours, and on dusk, we moved him out in the paddock behind a single hot wire. With the single hot wire, we set it up from that white post, and we run it all the way across to that steel post there. So once we had this hot wire up, we let him out. We normally like to put cans on when we introduce new calves to the paddock. That way the shiny cans reflect from the sun and they are inquisitive and they go up and sniff it, and that's where they get zapped. But he comes straight up. We didn't put the cans on. We thought, we only got the one, we weren't worried about it. They come out, the bulls are trained, so they didn't go near it, but he comes straight over to where I am now, straight under the hot wire, and went down the paddock mooing, stressing out for his mum. What we put it down to is we've never actually had to separate mum and cow, like I said before, to wean them off. We've only introduced livestock into here that have been weaned and trained them to a hot wire. So we had 2 scenarios going on. We had, firstly, he's never seen a hot wire, and secondly, he was weaned. We've never weaned off into a paddock and tried to hot wire a new cow or new calf, and also at the same time being weaned off his mum. So what we ended up doing to get him back in is we put the bulls back into the yards, we grabbed another poly reel, pulled it out, me and Nick on opposite ends, and just slowly pulled him back in behind that hot wire. Then I run another reel, so I had 2 lines, 2 hot wire on those step ends, making up a temporary fence so he couldn't go under. And that kept him in overnight. Then we moved him into the next section or cell, and we done the same again with 2 lines. But we realised it was going to be a lot of work to put up 2 lines all the time, so next time we moved him, we put the cans on then and moved him for the rest of the paddock for another 2 days with the cans. And he didn't get out again. Then we removed the cans, and this is where we are today. And after that, we moved him out of that paddock into the open paddocks, where we're just now running a single hot wire on either side to keep him in. And now the mooing for his mum is probably only first thing in the morning when he wakes up and last thing at night. It's not all day now. He's a lot quieter now, and he's used to now moving into the cells. So I think it's been successful, but would I try bringing in 9 or 10 weaners from their mum and putting them on the hot wire again? I don't know. What I'm thinking is we've got a training yard out there which you're going to use. It's got 5 strand plain wires around when we finish building it. We're going to use that as a weaning paddock. What we're going to do then is that way they're actually getting fence weaned off their mum. So the mum, the way that works is, say this is the fence here. We've got the calves on this side, where they are now, obviously, just so they're calves, and the mum's on the other side. So they come up, they can sniff each other. They won't be able to touch it because it's going to be electrified. Then the mum slowly moves away, and after a week, because they've still got that contact on a daily basis, they get weaned that way. And after that 6 or 7 week period, mum's dried up, then we can introduce them back in together and they're weaned off. I don't think we'll go down the track and try and wean them behind polybraid again. It would be fence wean or cross fence wean, or the nose ring. We have had success with the nose rings. This is the first time it hasn't worked, but we've got the option now of 2 options, the nose rings and cross fence once we get our paddock installed. So what I'm going to do now is let these boys into the next area. The 2 bulls and that weaner. They're going in here. This would be a 24-hour graze for those 3. So this is our first winter pass. First pass after winter, I should say. So this is the first time they're coming here at spring now. As you can see, it's fully recovered. Clover. That's probably close to 1.5 foot high, that pasture. So this will be a 24-hour graze for them. So what I'll do is I'll wind up, I'll bring those boys in now. I've got the hot wire set up and got them moved in here. I was going to videotape it, but forgot all about it. But anyway, they're in there now. This is that area, 24-hour graze. The pasture wasn't like that 5-6 years ago when I started regenerative farming. We continually graze. Didn't get a chance to recover. Now it's getting thicker and thicker year by year. And over the back there you can see that clover. We only had sporadic areas of clover. We try and let it come to that, the clover wise, we try and let it get to this point. I'll go over and show you, where it's got some white flowers and some brown flowers. The brown flowers are dying off and the white ones are still going. They'll go and eat this clover. They haven't spotted it yet. That's the first thing they normally eat. They'll come across and eat the both brown and the white. The brown has got seeds in it that's viable. So to get clover across a paddock, because it's generally a hard seeded legume, it survives the rumen of the stomach. So I reckon 85% of that hard shell will survive, and they drop it down with the manure, and that's the way you spread it through your paddock. We've had success spreading clover purely by that way. We haven't hand spread it through a seed distributor. We've just let our livestock spread it for us. But as you can see, he's a lot quieter now than he was. We plan leaving him in here now because the mum's obviously due. We showed you the mum. Or did we show you the mum? Oh yeah, we did, yeah. She's due in the next week or so. So the little fella's been in here, like I mentioned before, about a week. And like I mentioned, it takes 2 weeks before the calf is born, mum's colostrum level starts coming in. So he's been here 7 days. We're hoping we get another 7 days with mum. That means that he didn't get any colostrum and mum's still forming it, which gives the newborn a better chance of survival because it's going to have the antibodies, the vitamins and the fat content that it requires for its first 12 months of its life, or first 9 months when we wean it off. And that's all in that first colostrum that comes, as soon as mum has the calf, it comes down. And that's when the calf needs it in those first couple of days, is that colostrum. Once it gets that, it's right for its lifetime. That's why we had no choice but to take him then, because we knew we only had weeks before she was due. So it's been 7 days now. We're hoping she goes close to another 7 with our calculations. So she should be right. And he's doing all right. So on that note, I'm going to let the boys chew away. I've got some work to do, so a few fences. Alright guys, hope you have a good morning, a terrific afternoon, and an awesome evening. Wherever you watch us from, and we'll catch you later.